start with acceptance of the minutes from two of our past meetings, both April 8th and June 10th. Joe, no comments from me on those. Any further comment from anyone else, or I'll make a motion to accept the minutes as written.
Just for April 8th?
For both. For both, yeah, thanks for clarifying. For both April 8th and June 10th. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Nice. All in favor?
Yeah.
So new business, wanted to talk about the master plan survey part 2 briefly. Very helpfully just drop some information on that for anyone who may be listening. There is a part 2 of the master plan survey for the town of Newmarket up on the town's website right now. If you have not completed it so far, please do. There's questions in there about the riverfront, arts and culture, recreation, things like that that were not previously covered under the one that was out in May. So, Byron, I don't know if you want to talk to the master plan stuff at all, if you've actually looked through this and done any level of analysis.
Yeah, I think we can just go through it since everyone has. Hi, Dr. Kenna. So what you have in front of you, you have 2 sheets. One is a 1-pager paragraph. That's the most recent data I pulled today. Unfortunately, I couldn't get the something else responses. But the other page, the other pamphlet is taken from, I believe, August 9th. I did a little earlier. 152, I think. Responses. So most recent, we had 170 responses, and then the older one's 152. So it's pretty close. And basically, this is just showing, how people today use the riverfront, how they engage with it. And this kind of what, we're going to go into more detail in the fall, but this is a nice preliminary review for data to see. So we have concerts around 25%, so that's usually in the summer, I presume, when recreation puts on that concert series, picnics, kayaking, book dock, parking, and then something else. And then as you go through the something else, a lot of it is walking. So, we see walking, eating ice cream, walking, none. So no one uses it, I guess. But point is, it looks like a lot of people use it just for walking around. Jeff?
I ask just a question what everybody thinks here. So walking to me implies that they're just passing through, they're not using it?
Well, I would say they're using that.
Yeah, I would consider walking using it. I just walked it the other day. I consider I was using it.
That's
Okay,
my
all right,
take.
so you just walking through, but you are enjoying the scenery or something?
Yeah,
We were going down to, I was going with a friend to enjoy the scenery, yeah, and we walked to see the scenery.
Okay, so but just my clarification is walking doesn't mean that they're ignoring it, okay?
Well, that's the thing,
Yeah.
it's not that descriptive, so they say walking, so, it could be just by themselves, could be with a friend, so that's socializing, if we think about walking, you're exercising.
Yeah.
You're walking, so
When I think of walking in that context, I think of it enhances it. If I go to the downtown to have dinner, a lot of times we're going to loop, I may park on Bay Road, loop over, walk over to Shander and around, back up, more or less some of the same paths we talk about all the time. I think it makes it more interesting to take a walk around the downtown when you're doing other things.
Again, I just want to kind of clarify for all of us that it doesn't mean that they're ignoring the park in the area.
exactly, yeah, that's exactly right, so, it's clear that, we have these components, a lot of people primarily use it just to, walk, and wherever walking entails, for them, so I thought that was interesting, just to get that, snapshot. A lot of people walk it while they're waiting too, for other things, charging, restaurant reservations, so it just, it has its going to be used while other people are waiting to do something else as well in that area. So I thought that was kind of an interesting snapshot into how people use it. So anyways, so this is going to be open till the end of September. In between the closing and now of that survey, we're going to have another event, visioning session on September 14th at the school, junior, senior high school, similar to the one that we had in March, this past March. There'll be Riverfront specific questions like you see in front of you. So we'll be able to get more data there. So we'll have a map and whatnot, it'll be like a map there, and then, you know, sticky notes and kind of do more interactive exercise on understanding, you know, current usage and future aspirations for the riverfront. So yeah, and then after that will be our design charrette about a month later, which will really focus on that area of town. So, any questions? So segue into that, the other sheets you have in front of you, before I do that, any questions? No? Great. So we'll do the spreadsheet first, we get that one. This is the team assembled for our design trip. These are the volunteers, expert volunteers that will be helping the town out in facilitating this community conversation. So you know, we have engineers, you know, civil, hydraulic, or I don't know what to say, hydrology scientists, hydrologists. There we go, got it. English is hard. Economic development, you know, planning, housing. What else we got here? Our landscape architects, so they'll be really good at drafting. You know, when we come up with these conceptual ideas, they'll be really helpful in, you know, kind of put it in, you know, and really quickly to, you know, visualize what was said and what was maybe agreed upon. So yeah, so you know, traffic as well. I've got some folks from DOT helping us out, and let's see, architecture as well. So yeah, pretty excited. It looks like a good team, and you know, I think this will be very helpful in helping us figure out where to go. And then,
Can I ask, what was cut off on, in terms of, I was wondering if any of these people were part of the Living Shoreline. Jeff Donald, it's cut off, he said it participated in the, I don't know.
I have to find out because I don't know, I wasn't there for when that, so I'll have to see who was involved during that.
Okay.
Living Shoreline drafting.
Are all these people familiar with our downtown? In other words, have they gone through Shanta Park? Have they gone through the riverfront? Have they walked through our downtown?
I would say Robbie Woodburn is, Liz Durfee is, Lynn Percaro is familiar. From just my personal knowledge.
Okay.
So
Is that
there's a
part
few.
of day one?
What's that?
Is that part of the first day?
Yeah, so,
Like, sidewalk?
Well, if you go through, so basically what's going to happen is, you know, we're in contact with the I guess you call it the executive group of this design charrette, and we have monthly, now it's going to be more frequent, but monthly check-ins.
Mm-hmm.
And they're going to brief the whole team prior for them coming into Newmarket this October 18th.
Okay.
So, and then what you have is the MOU in front of you as well, and this gives the schedule of how it's gonna occur. So again, it'll be, you know, everyone comes in, we have a really conversation, you know, team introduce themselves, community leaders, so, you know, and then we'll do another walking tour as well. So again, you know, those people who are from far away, you know, might not have the opportunity, so that's what day one is for.
Okay.
So that'll occur at 10:45, and then we'll have lunch. And then from 1 to 3 on that Friday, more discussion between community business leaders, municipal leadership. So kind of, more gathering of information. And later on, then maybe two public sessions. And then the next day, after breakfast, basically they take all the information that they get and they start developing recommendations. And then there'll be a presentation at 3.
And there's a typo on that,
Yeah, it's a Saturday, April 13th.
Yeah. Yeah, well, that's fine, yeah.
okay,
I
just,
think everyone
Projected
understands.
forward.
just before it goes out publicly.
Yep. So,
So what is, I guess, what is the town's expectation kind of collectively, like, so as I look at, this schedule, so like 10:45 with like the site walk, clearly they're not looking for a crowd, they want like 25 people. I mean, like, who's going to that? Do you want anyone from this committee to go to that, or should we just show up at 1:30 to provide, some input? I guess trying to figure out how we can best support without being like overly cumbersome.
yeah, I think it would be very important for someone from this committee to be there on that floor.
Okay.
Since, this is one of the main charges of the committee. So, to help support the riverfront area. So, yes, be all of you, one of you, whoever you want to decide. I don't think there's a right or wrong answer, so.
Discuss that amongst ourselves. So on Saturday too, I mean, so it just says the team will reconvene at 8 to kind of review and then do the presentation at 3. So is the expectation is that largely they're just reviewing their information from like 8 to 3, not like they want input from the public, us, others?
Yeah, the input comes on Friday.
Input's on Friday.
I think, and then the team will be putting together the recommendations.
Okay.
Again, I don't think there's anything wrong with you participating in that session as well during that process.
So, along with what Betsy was saying, I think it would really be helpful for that whole group to take a tour of the downtown and the riverfront. Could that be physically slotted into their time frame that they have?
Yep, that's gonna happen at 10:45 on Friday. AM.
Oh, yeah, it says walking.
Oh, it does say.
Yeah,
walking
walking
tour.
tour.
Oh, sorry, I didn't see that. The targeted areas, okay.
Yep. So, it says 2 or 3, but I think you all should, if you want, you can be involved. And I don't think it's especially since you live there, so.
Yeah,
Just yell stuff out the window.
I'm sorry?
Yell input out the window.
Yeah. You get all 50 owners on that side.
That sounds good. Okay,
Yeah.
no, it helps to see the schedule kind of broken out, because I know we
Exactly.
talked about those 2 days, but just trying to kind of frame out like, well, what do those actually look like, and what kind of input or participation are they looking for, from us, so we can be there the right amount, not too little, too much, I guess.
And then, yeah, so that'll be the main working schedule there. And before and after, again, opportunities to connect and, have food and stuff, so.
Yeah. That all sounds good. I know I've kind of mentally blocked off that day, so I can definitely be there, but I don't think that it's a limit. I mean, that is kind of our existence, and this is sort of something that we've been up to, with the town's assistance, so I'd say if anyone can
Yeah.
be there, we should.
I have it on my calendar,
Yeah,
so,
yeah,
and
it's
I
on my-
don't have anything else that I know of that's gonna conflict, so
Yeah, same.
I'll plan on it.
Excellent. So, Barb, you may or may not know, but have they like asked us to give them any information prior to showing up, or are they gonna kind of?
Yep, so that's been part of this executive
Okay.
build up to the, so, what do you call it, lack of a better word, a team, preparing for the event. So yes, so we've been providing them with information.
Okay.
And then they're gonna have maps, so they did some maps for us, like, for the help with the drafting and whatnot, so, there's some, like, we're gonna get into trails, walking trails, there's a class 6 road there. They want a little more information on that. We're very near the water plant. I was doing some research today to try to find it. Yeah, so we've been in, like I said, it's been a little infrequent, but as we get closer and closer, the meetings are gonna be more higher frequency, so.
Okay.
Bart, how did you find all these people? Who found all these people? It seems like a really good group, but
Yeah, no, Plan New Hampshire, so this has been going on for years, this entity, Plan New Hampshire, so this is what they do, they have these, design charrettes, and they basically have built a network over the years, and some volunteers love doing these, and, so it's really Plan New Hampshire's network.
okay.
And they basically reach out, once they have a design charrette, they reach out to their network to gauge interest. And people just say yes, 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 no, no, no. So a lot of people were interested in Newmarket's application, so, which is great. So, but like I said, I think we have a good team. And luckily there's somebody like Robbie, she's across the street, so it's easy for her to do it.
Can't beat the proximity.
Yeah, exactly. But, yeah, no, that's how we got this panel of experts.
So, somewhat of a leading question. I had kind of printed off a couple copies for people just so they could see, but I was kind of looking at, I guess effectively the last charrette that Plan New Hampshire did for Sunapee earlier this year. And it was a nice kind of final report, it looks good, it looks like they put real time and effort into it. I was mostly just curious about the information up front, why did Plan New Hampshire come to Sunapee, in this case Newmarket, and then, what substitute Newmarket for Sunapee, what we told them. Is this, what I'm trying to figure out is, do we want to give them info, or should we give them info up front, or is this literally the first thing that we talk about when they show up? And I just didn't know the sequencing of that.
That's coming after. So basically what we're doing here is they listen to us as a community. They'll provide that info. They'll basically output what they heard and ideas generated. And then we take that and we incorporate it into our plans if we want to. So the idea is a conduit almost into putting ideas into our plans, and then we can refine them from there. So that's really, so it's kind of put it in a process, a more human process, social process, gathering information, and then we take it and we put it in, like I said before, I won't do this up, but we take that and we put it in our master plan or what else, and then codify that, and then that becomes our rational basis of doing things, making investments into the community.
So at the end of this charrette, we could expect something very much like this.
Yeah, and then they also do a talking too, not just a presentation.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is the full report. I do have one if someone wants to see one. I just printed the stuff that looked like more upfront or.
Maybe just
preemptive discussion.
forward it to us in an email.
Yeah, I can send the
Yeah,
link over.
that would be great.
That's easy enough. But yeah, it was interesting to see what gets generated at the end. Like, it looks pretty nice.
So the level of detail that they put into this is really the level of detail you need to come up with a coherent master plan chapter.
Yeah, it really kind of shows you what could be based on what they've heard, and then you take those conceptual ideas or designs and you refine them.
Yeah.
Either through preliminary designs, through if it's like a hardscape plan, or if it's like 10,000 master plan, then you kind of take that information and you incorporate into that
Yeah,
document.
yeah. Sounds really useful to have something that represents some level of community consensus sort of as a target. It's not
Yeah.
immutable, not unchangeable, but it represents some
A moment in
level.
time,
Yeah.
what the community, at least the people who are there, think should happen, which is, I think, a good foundation to look up from.
Yeah.
Is there a, like a timeline? Oh, there you
Yeah,
go.
it's
Final
8
8 to 10 weeks.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which kind of aligns with our process too, at least for the master plan.
Yeah, I was gonna say, so how does that overlap with the chapter?
I think it does, it's fine, because we'll be in that process anyways of drafting. So our master plan timeline is end of June, so June 25 of 2025, to really have everything in final draft mode, and then the plan board will start voting on it that summer. And from there, you use it.
Do things.
Redo things, yes.
Yeah, no, that does seem to work pretty well.
And then while we're on that note, you all will be the experts for that chapter, at least like the team to advise the subcommittee and planning board. So during the winter, late fall, winter, we'll be a little more active in that front. So SRPC will come to more meetings, and we'll have our time, and we'll be working on that chapter as a team. And then, we invite experts, so maybe a good, we use that, hopefully, that document from Plan New Hampshire, and then maybe they identify some key entities that we can invite here to help us really refine our goals of that chapter. So it might be a good opportunity to interview people and help us develop that chapter.
Now, the two documents that popped in my head, I'm wondering whether they would see them is, one is the living shoreline, the output from that, the document we got from that, and the other would be Moonlight Brook. Would they see either of those, or do they need that level of detail?
I'll ask, we're actually going to meet with the committee tomorrow, the charrette committee, so I'll see if that's something that they would want, and then it would be useful. I don't see why not, so, but if not, then I'll share with them, and then they'll pass it on.
Yeah.
It's not bad. It's nice to hear it all coming together, I guess. Okay. Is there any, I guess, value to kind of discussing these couple pages about, what they hear from us? I can see coming from like a collaborative session, of them listening, but even just these 4 goals that they had for Sunapee. Like, to me, that's something that's like almost an agreement or something that,
It came out of the process.
yeah, or even that you had an idea before you started.
Well, that's the thing. I think we keep on circling back. It's
Yeah.
this one topic, and I think to me, correct me if I'm wrong, it seems like the committee's uncomfortable because there's no goals. It's very loose end. This is very qualitative. It just seems to me, and I just want to understand if I'm perceiving that right.
I think that's kind of long been the question, is like what, and I think this is the payoff. I don't want to speak for everyone, so if I'm misqualifying anything, like, by all means, interrupt and interject. But I think that's long been the thing, is it's been a long walk up of, well, we want to do something with the riverfront, but with what goal, with what money, like how, and like, I think the long walk up to, okay, well, we're gonna do this, we're gonna come up with our goals, we're gonna put them in our master plan, and then we're gonna use the master plan to leverage the finance committee to push these goals, because we've heard through this process that there's community support for these ideas. So I do think that the road is there right now, but yeah, it's kind of, I think it's just been a long walk to you and whose army, like how are we actually doing anything, or like what do we do from here? How do we,
After that document,
yeah, how do we actually move anything forward?
well, that's what the implementation matrix in the master plan will help guide this committee. So it'll say who's responsible, where are the funding sources to help us pay for things, and, you know, what is the priority? You know, based on what you heard from the community, what you guys recommend to the planning board, and they legislate that, they codify that. So you'll have, as a team, you'll be the people recommending what you think should come first based on what you heard, the experts that you know, testimony you heard from experts, the community, and what you think is what should be prioritized over other things for that chapter.
Sam, I think it's worth noting again too here is that even though we've not come out with a design, we've not even come out with that much of a plan in the last, what has it been, 3 years we've been at this or something? It seems like a long time. But, you know, things got set into motion a lot of through the conversations that happened here, like Lindsay's work and what's going on with Moonlight Brook and trying to find an answer there. That was sort of had some of its earliest conversations in this committee, and I for one am really happy that more is going to happen before we come up with our final design or anything for that waterfront area. So we have sort of worked on some of these foundational things we were given as a committee. You know, the striking thing we saw when we had the initial Moonlight, what do you call it, the UNH report.
The bacterial report? Or
Yeah, they had a term for it, but anyways, the one that had a bridge in the front of it.
Oh, that
You know,
one,
that
yeah.
we're going back to that.
Yeah.
So we've done a lot of work, and you know, I feel it's great to be at this point where, because for a long part, all the work we've done, people would say, well, what's the public think? And we didn't. That's a lot of work figuring out what the public thinks, and this is a really well-organized process to get us there. I think with some of the, you know, the Moonlight Brook type stuff, and some of those things done, and some of the investigations that are taking place and will have taken place about, you know, right-of-way and access and what we can and can't do based on who owns what. And then you add to it public input and a master plan chapter, you know, there'll be a lot of work done, but most of it seems pretty necessary to get us to the point where, you know, we can start making decisions.
Okay, so to me, it's been a long 2 years we've been talking, and I feel like we're finally getting something done. But I think part of it has to also be, they have to come up with what's the benefit of doing this. It'll make it easier for us to sell this if they come up and say, there's not only a benefit of having a clean, nice walkway, but there's some kind of economic benefits to the downtown area.
Yeah, and that's, you know, you see we have a economic developer expert, so that'll help us with those recommendations. Like, so it'll be, you know, that'll be her avenue as when you make the record. So, yeah.
Yeah, I'm just saying it would be helpful to sell this.
Sure, what we want to do.
But finally getting somewhere, I feel like.
Right. I guess, you know, for me, it seems like we're spinning our wheels. It is slow, but I think we are, you know, getting there bit by bit. And slow doesn't mean bad, I think, in this case. And hopefully it'll be also confirmation of the ideas generated by this committee on the way forward. You know, with all the work you have been doing these past 3 years, the ideas generated here, this is a perfect opportunity to, you know, confirm that this is what the community wants and what's right for the town, and move forward from there. So, you know, I know it's probably frustrating, but I think we're at a good point long term. Look at the long game. I think we're in a better position now than we were 3 years ago, 2 years ago. Now we just have that foundation to build from.
Yep.
We will. So.
At this meeting, do you show any of the past concepts? Do you mention the bridge?
Yeah, you mentioned everything. I think so. You mean coming at the charrette or prior to?
At the charrette,
Yeah,
do
so
you?
yes, I think you just say everything you worked on, past concepts. You know, does this make sense now? Are there alternatives? So you just throw everything on the wall
Yeah.
and have these conversations with them, and then they'll help generate.
Yeah,
You know, maybe there's something that's more cost effective that you could do that achieves the goals, aspirations you'd like to see for the waterfront.
yeah, yeah. So pull some documents together, something visible for people to see at that time?
Yeah.
It's-
Yeah, so you can, we're gonna have these focus groups here, so you can have documents. If there's something you wanna share prior to, the meeting, you can have to share with the team as well. Just, you know, save a little time. So if there's anything you wanna share with the team, the experts, prior to the meeting, maybe it's something we can pull together as well. Because it'll save maybe time in that first session when they talk with the committee members and town employees, municipal staff.
It might be on some of these, it might be handy to have, you know, there have been a few topics that have been pretty, you know, a lot of conversation about. I think of one of them, you could just have a picture of a pedestrian bridge from that New Hampshire UNH report and say, you know, here are favorable comments that have been made, here are what some of the difficulties would be and some of the negative comments with that. Something that just sort of collects some of what we've heard about that. You could have some update document about, you know, what the challenges are in terms of improving the whole Riverwalk aspect, as, you know, going from Shanda either direction, what we've looked at, what people currently do, and what we've uncovered for the limitation of what we think we can do right now.
Yeah, we shared that. I didn't give them the concept design, but we shared some of the aspirations of putting the bridge over. Also, the, you know, the complicated title environment that we have there from you know, land ownership perspective.
So they have enough on that.
They know about that.
Okay, that's good.
And they're familiar, or will be familiar, the day that we do the tour of, you know, Great Heron Point being more or less a bird sanctuary, and the challenges of getting through the mobile home park that's there for access. I mean, that's,
I haven't, so I'll update them tomorrow on the current challenges that we have.
Yeah.
Just updated challenges.
yeah,
To accessing there, so yes.
Yeah.
They'll be familiar with
okay.
that concept.
And Sam, will there be people from the Conservation Commission participating in the charrette? Or attending, besides yourself attending the tour or anything like that?
What level of like advertisement has this had or will have? Like, I guess from a town perspective, I mean, we want to spur like attendance, like
Yeah, so
We want people to show up.
Yeah, so we're on more leaflets in the town. Soon. We've been advertising online and whatnot. In every meeting that I'm at, I try to stay at social media, these towns. And then I think I'm gonna try to get, see if Seacoast Local will, if I can just do an editorial or something, you know, kind of broadcasting that, then maybe get some more readership. partnership there. So, since no one covers us, I'll try to reach out to them and do it. Then school district, I'll reach out to them, so we can pass out to parents, maybe do an email blast, recreation, their email lister, so there's information there. So we're doing the best I guess we can.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that makes sense. Yeah, I mean, I'm not an actual member at this point.
Okay.
So I would probably start with just sending, like, I can send something to Ellen and just let her know about it.
So Ellen knows,
I'm
yeah.
sure she knows, but just, hey, you know, maybe it's worth being there on the 18th specifically, since
Okay.
both Shanda and Heron are
Yeah.
conservation properties. How does the wrapping up of the master plan in June 2025 kind of correspond with the town's like budgeting process? Is that generally occurring kind of like now?
Yeah, that actually worked out well for
So the
next year.
Yeah, the
So,
intent's to
Yeah,
kind
so
of
right now we're in
set.
budget season. We're beginning our endeavor. And so it'll work out well. Hopefully the plan board will codify everything by July. And then that'll be a perfect foundation to start making requests or at least investigating. So,
Okay.
but you'll have a good idea prior to that as a team that's developing that chapter. And, you know, by that time we'll have the implementation matrix all in final draft form. I don't imagine there being like major tweaks to it, you know, who knows, but I think there will be a lot of effort in developing that at that point where it'll be pretty much finalized, just, you know, more procedural. That's the needed curve to make it official.
And do we have a designated, I mean, are we working from the pump house out to, all the way out to Sharon? Do we have a designated area of what we consider riverfront?
Yeah, so for this is up Bay Road a little bit, probably to the Estates, and then going down to 108 Main Street, down Main Street, neighborhoods behind it, all the way to actually Jerry Ave,
Okay,
and up, so Creighton Street neighborhood
okay,
there.
Young's Lane,
Yep, Young, yeah, so, yeah, exactly.
So-
Young's Lane
Yep.
to cross the river to the States.
so the map that you had color-coded earlier this year is basically all those areas,
Yeah,
correct?
I just received today updated maps from Plan New Hampshire
Okay,
showing really different areas of the focus area.
Mhm.
So more, we call it higher resolution
okay,
maps to help us as they're drafting and drawing, you know, easier to understand
okay,
and to visualize. Yeah, so basically if you think of that crescent, you know,
Mhm.
from States to Youngs.
okay.
Yeah.
what's the first, the crescent from, it sounds like you're saying states, but I'm not hearing you.
Estates, so Hare Point Estates.
Okay,
Yeah, the community, mobile home community
okay,
from there, yeah, down.
gotcha.
Yeah.
Is there a new problem getting access to,
Yeah, you've been away. So the gate is permanently closed right now because people keep damaging it, trying to get out when it locks. You can get out. You were able to get out, but you had to wait for that process to occur. And unfortunately, people didn't realize that. I believe there was a sign there saying, "Please wait." But people were impatient and damaged it. So for the sake of, you know, our sanity and, you know, saving money, and we just decided to keep it locked permanently until we find another solution, unfortunately. Lindsay can talk more about that if you want. If you want more information.
that's,
Yeah. Yeah. But, you know, it goes back to, you know, larger points, like, now there's no access, you
Yeah.
know, at least for a vehicular, so.
Yeah.
If you park at Bay Road, you gotta walk in, so, again, just lends more.
But this is close to even walking in now, right? You're not, you can walk,
You can walk in, yeah, just, no, you can't park anymore
okay.
in the,
Vehicular
yeah.
No vehicular access, okay.
Do we,
I thought I said it, but excuse me, I spoke.
do you have like counters or anything anywhere that count how it's being utilized?
I don't think so, no. Yeah, no.
I was thinking, how would one do that other than deer cam sort of thing?
It's just like a camera or something, or whatever, anything.
Yeah, then somebody'd have to sit there and watch it all and see how many people went by.
Yeah, I don't think you have that data, but we're trying otherwise. Do the survey and whatnot in this process. No. Yeah, so any other questions on the process? For events?
No, it's nice to see the full MOU for kind of what they're proposing for,
Yes.
for schedule and participation. So it's helpful to see that.
Looks great.
Is there, I see the first thing for like, 10:30 a.m. They're gonna gather downstairs. For the rest of that, is that the space that we're planning on utilizing downstairs for all of the
Downstairs,
stuff? Okay.
I figure because it's closest, besides mill space, the biggest space available, that's in close proximity to the entire area.
Central.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
You know, I could, you know, just for best case scenario, we get a lot of people, see if mill space would be available in case we have some overflow. So it's not a bad idea. We'll do that.
I don't think I have any further questions right now. It's definitely helpful to understand. It's nice to see, yeah, the project team put together, like, actual, you know, names and participation. That's great. Yeah, I'm all set. Anyone else have any questions or thoughts? What, as we kind of get into the fall and winter, is that just something that's kind of coordinated as it comes about, hey, SRPC wants to come to this meeting?
Yeah, so we'll
things
just
like that?
coordinate that. I think after the September meeting, probably after Charette too, we'll probably start, I would say maybe we start November. Then we'll have a good idea of what happened for sure. We will have an idea of the
Yeah.
2 community events. And then meanwhile, we'll be waiting for that document from Plan New Hampshire. And then we just start there. So I think November is reasonable.
Yeah.
Period. Like, the November meeting I would target is we start developing the chapter.
Art,
Oop.
we also have a representative grant that's going to be working on
All right.
some project concepts.
That's true. So we do have coastal resilience grant, as Lindsay reminded me. Thank you, Lindsay. So coming at these 2 processes, the visioning and design charrette, we have a resiliency grant that'll help us do some preliminary designs, concept designs.
Cost estimates.
Cost estimates, so kind of,
Budgeting.
you know, helping us put a plan together financially.
And what is the focus of where the designs are? Is this the Shanda Park designs,
Well,
Moonlight
yes, so
Brook?
this would be more resiliency measures, so things that achieve that.
Yeah,
So it'd be like living shoreline, maybe some kind of other mitigation. So those elements coming from those processes will be advanced a little further through this grant.
okay.
And this big grant. Yes.
When do they take down the weir there? Do you know when that's removed?
Soonish, I think, fall maybe?
What?
Will it be still up
weir.
for October? I'd
The
like
weir.
it to be
Oh,
up
yeah.
for them to see that.
Well, that's the question is, yeah. there, the water or on the land. It's usually stored right there, so, I'll find that out. I can find that out. I don't know exactly.
I'd like it to be up when they do the survey or when they're walking around.
When they walk around.
That's one of my pet peeves.
Okay.
Well, I definitely think there should be a way to get public input about the charrette, and
Right.
really, that looks at where the town, how the town got to where they are, because I've certainly had several conversations with people that are saying they wish it wasn't there, and so I think we need to understand that it's been sort of incomplete public input as to whether or not the public really wishes it to be there in majority way or doesn't wish it to be there. Because I think it'd be a good place to get some people to understand, it's another one of those things that we've talked with and we've understand that there's some hurdles to overcome in terms of not having it in there, but we do hear from a significant number of people that they would prefer that we didn't have to design around something that it's not really functional and it's not.
Yeah, I think everything should be brought up at the charrette.
Yeah.
And having those conversations there.
Yeah.
And also you can have here too, but I think having those, those community conversations would be appropriate at that point. Would be the best opportunity.
Right, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
When you talk about purpose, do people talk about that as providing a historical perspective to the community at all? Is that a function of it, is to provide historical perspective to how the river was used whenever that was functional? Because that's also a function. The educator in me says, this is a history lesson.
Yeah.
And that is a function. Just because we're not eating fish out of it doesn't mean that it's not functioning.
I do think that's been one of the primary arguments to support it in the past, which there's obviously value to as well.
Yeah, but the guy, and I'm blanking on his name, there's a husband and wife that are very involved with advocating for the, the Native American viewpoint. And I'm pretty sure I have this right. I didn't write it down, but I bumped into, somebody told me, or I might have bumped into him, because he was I was going to the meetings for the Mill Pond Dam when he was there. And I had a conversation, I believe it was with him, and he was saying, they would prefer that not be there. So if that's being used as a reason, because it shows a lot, the original Native Americans had weirs, they had traps in all these places. But you could address ways to educate. You could do, Newmarket's done a great job in other areas with educational signage. And, given the negatives, sometimes the impact on plants and impacts to other uses of the area of dragging that in and out, I'm not sure having an actual reproduction weir out there is the most important thing. And I think, so that's why it really, it'd be good to have at least some kind of, it's not the main conversation for your charrette certainly, but people, it is a good opportunity for people to understand what conversations we've had around
The
it.
friend I just had visiting looked at it and because she's not from the area, was not at all familiar with what it might be. And
How a
tried
weir works.
Yeah, how it works and why it's there. And
Yeah, there's no real context, I guess.
Right.
When you are looking at it.
Right.
So,
would appropriate signage, and I will take this opportunity to say, the QR code is not on the sign
yes,
down there.
sorry, yes.
But would appropriate signage also then help? Because just looking at it as you're walking through the park doesn't tell you anything if you're totally unfamiliar with it.
Well, I think if you were going to, it's a good time to talk about some of those things, because I think if you were going to do that, people have talked about, where are they stored? Does that interfere with other potential uses when it's
Right.
pulled out?
Yeah.
There should be, I feel like
Comprehensive discussion.
a comprehensive discussion either says the town endorses this and this is how it's going to be done, and it's not just up to somebody who's been sort of using it that
Yeah,
way.
yeah.
Or we say there are other ways to accomplish the education here, and it's such a constrained area, we don't want to give up a lot of area to
Yeah,
that kind of a
yeah.
use. That's where you're really
Right.
looking for input on that.
Right. And then to be sure that we have the explanation of what the constraints are, what how that space is used, that is problematic for, and that sort of thing, a comprehensive discussion, yeah.
Yeah, because one of the areas where it was, when we were going back to the very beginning with the living shoreline, one of the prime areas in the area of Shanda Park was to have a really highly functional living shoreline. It had light characteristics, had all the characteristics, already has rare plants there, was right where they dragged the
Yeah, right.
in and out. So
Yeah.
that's just one example.
Where the weir gets put in and taken out, and where people launch their kayaks.
Yeah. Yeah.
I apologize for jumping all over the place here, but can you also arrange for Amy at the rec there to have some input either that weekend or before?
Yeah, absolutely, so we both, she will be part of that 10:45 on day one.
She will be there?
Yeah, so town staff as well will be there.
Excellent, okay.
Yeah, so the idea is to get institutional viewpoints first before we show the community.
Excellent, okay, thanks.
So, it's August 19th. I mean, what do people think about September? I mean, if this is kind of, come with your thoughts, prepare your thoughts for October, do we want to meet next month? Is there value in meeting next month? Or if it's, gather your thoughts, attend this event in October, then we'll
Before we
discuss the
answer
rest
that
of
question,
November.
can I ask one more question too? And the September 14th meeting, is that going to, because you talked about housing and stuff at the spring meetings, and we just had a conversation where you said that's going to happen. Some of these other talks, are you expecting to get more input about the waterfront at that meeting at that time?
Yes.
So, I'm just trying to wonder, what are you thinking maybe that, would it be, skip the September Riverfront meeting, Bart? Is that what you're thinking? And the meeting that we would normally have, if we had it in October, would be the Monday before the design charrette. So I was just thinking about the two meetings we would have in September and October if we followed the usual calendar in relationship to those other meetings. And I don't have a strong feeling about whether we need one or both of those meetings, but you might think about it in terms of its relationship to the two public input meetings that are happening in September and October.
I think October 14th is
Columbus
a
Day.
holiday, yeah. I'm just trying to plan. So the week that I'm going to be away is the 9th through the 13th. So I don't know if I can attend the 14th. Obviously, I know at the last one, I think almost all of us were there, which is great.
September?
Yeah. I don't know if I'm going to be home until like 3 o'clock that morning, so I don't. What are the hours?
Yeah, my suggestion is we meet in October. Because one, it'd be good for advertising. Two, we'll have a lot more information, and we can make final tweaks if we want.
Yeah, seeing how the 14th,
Yeah,
September
so-
14th event went.
Right. So whatever in October you want to meet prior to.
That sounds good, and I guess the main question would be is Columbus Day, it doesn't matter to me, but do we want to avoid Columbus Day? 'Cause
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
the town
I will
hall's
not
not
be
even open, so.
Yeah.
How do people feel about October 7th, the week before? pushing it after would be after the charrette, which kind of defeats
Yeah,
the
no,
purpose.
October 7th seems like, if we're going to do it on a Monday, October 7th seems
Yeah.
like the one.
So the 7th, you say?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that may have some value, be on the other side of the community event on September 14th, but prior to the charrette. One last touch.
Will you be able to let Wendy know this?
Yeah, I can message her too. Try to do all this stuff tonight.
So October 7th, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, 4 o'clock, so.
yes.
And that will be our only meeting for September and October, separate from the public meetings that we're talking about going to.
Yes, yeah, only.
And then in November, we'll start chapter development.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we can talk date for that one, because second Monday in November would be Veterans Day, but that's a conversation for another day. We seem to have a radar for the holidays. It's like a special skill of ours.
Well, there's a lot of Monday holidays, that's,
Yeah,
that,
apparently
but,
second Monday of the month is holiday time.
Yeah.
So.
I have a meeting that I will be out of town for that whole week of the 18th of November.
Okay.
So if it's early November, look at that for my schedule too.
Okay.
So end of November would be really, I won't be here.
Yeah.
Put that way.
Yeah, we can discuss in October when people have a better idea. I mean, I'm not opposed to the week of the 4th or going completely off script and just doing it on a Tuesday instead. It doesn't seem like it's insurmountable either. We could consider doing that. Although I know we run into planning board if we go late on Tuesday.
Yeah, you'll start.
Which is, I think we originally ended up with this time slot. All right, no, fair enough. And Bart, thanks for the info. I know
Thank you.
yeah, it's great. Had a lot of stuff kind of related.
Just one quick question on the September 14th visioning. Is that going to be at the junior, senior high?
That's correct.
Okay, and
Yeah.
timing of when it's going to start?
Yeah, 9 to 12.
9 to 12.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, breakfast too, well, food, coffee,
Okay.
other beverages.
All right, so 9:14, 9 to 12 at the junior, senior high school. Is there any other, I know like housing and open space was kind of the last topic.
Yeah,
Like
so
what's
it's
the
gonna
thing
be
that's-
everything else. We got recreation chapter, community facilities, transportation, downtown Riverfront,
Arts and culture.
arts and culture.
Energy and,
What's that?
energy?
Energy, yeah. Energy, so, wish I had, it's not up. But yeah, everything else that we have, so it's gonna, future land use, existing future land use, that's part of it too. So basically, we'll have that, that'll probably be our last, community, session, and then we start the rest of the chapter development, and then the idea is to have all the chapters, get them all drafted, final format, and focus on the vision, so make sure everything, the vision matches the chapters, so the chapters drive the vision. It's kind of counterintuitive in a way, but I think it'll work out better. This next summer we'll have a brand new master plan.
Do we have an update on like the property ownership stuff? What's the status of it?
We, meaning Bart, Lindsay, and I had met briefly on that in July sometime. We identified like a handful of spots, basically just, okay, where along this contiguous frontage between Heron Point and the land the town owns off of Young's Lane, are there any sort of easement or access restriction? So I think we came up with 5 spots where there's some level of ownership conflict or potential disruption or area of interest. So it was at least worthwhile to kind of identify those spots further. Has anything changed? I guess that was probably almost a month ago now. The answer may be no, but just knowing that information might feel a little outdated. Okay, so it was mostly that.
Yeah, the other question would be, I mean, I was looking at the, what was it, the June minutes, and the rain was keeping them from doing much sampling at Moonlight Brook. Are you aware, have they been able to?
I've heard no update, but I'm gonna ask Ellen. I'm not sure if there's been any further update. I used to get my information through the Conservation Commission. Money outs with national Yeah, I can ask if there's been any further update there.
Well, I'll just mention too, because people, I have been in communication with the principal about inviting, having a meeting with them.
Yeah.
He wanted to have a first meeting with the superintendent and the high school principal, and we've been working to schedule that. We were trying to do it over the summer, and it just didn't work out. But
Yeah.
I'll be reaching out to him again.
That sounds good. And yeah, it'd be great to see if anyone wants to get involved this fall, especially with
With these opportunities.
2 community events and development of a master plan. Now's a good time to catch a youth perspective on it.
Yeah, well, it's nice to have some inputs and materials to bring to that meeting to get more flesh on the bones, so to speak.
Yeah, no, thanks for continuing to follow that. Okay. I have nothing else that I plan to discuss today. Any further thoughts from anyone else? We'll set the next meeting for October 7th. I'll let Wendy know about that. And then I'd make a motion to adjourn.
So moved?
All in favor?
Aye.
Nice. All right, thank you, everyone. Thanks.